Welcome to the France 24 debate. As France continues to be affected by industrial action, strikes against the planned changes to working time, we are asking, should the right to protest be upheld? The state of emergency in place since November's terror attacks has put extra strain on security services. Should this burden be increased by the protest against social change? Or should the right to do that be stringently upheld? The French government has made a U-turn over plans for a large-scale trade union demonstration on Thursday. The authorities wanted the demo to be static, in one place, and they said easier to police, well, to avoid, they say, the violent scenes that we've seen on these marches recently. But after threats by the unions to carry on regardless, a compromise was reached. All this happening today in very dramatic fashion politically here in France. So as shorter marches to take place, police will be diverted to accompany the marchers from Bastille to the Porte de l'Arsenal. If you know your Paris, and you can see it here, it is a very, very short distance. 2,000 police will be diverted, and some 100 people, we are told, have been banned from taking part, named individuals who clearly have misbehaved on other events. So should the right to protest be upheld during this state of emergency? We'll hear from our guests in a moment. I will introduce them to you right now. Axel Tessandier is, the founder of the think tank Axel Agency. Great to see you. Thank you for coming to join us here on France 24. Pierre Gauthieron is an independent photojournalist who's been out on the streets watching these demonstrations unfold and witnessing firsthand very much the situation. We're looking forward to finding out what you've got to say on this issue. On the other side of the studio, they're not necessarily against, because we're not like that here at France 24. Simon Rio is the National Communications Secretary of the Young Socialists. Thank you, sir, very much for joining us. Last but definitely not least, Bruno Cotres from Sciences Po, a frequent visitor to our shores, and always a pleasure, sir, to see you. To set the scene for you, let's take a look at our report on the current issues.
Banning a popular protest on the streets of Paris, a decision that dramatically backfired on the French government. Outcry followed the announcement that police chiefs had deemed the protest against labour reforms on Thursday enough of a security risk to forbid it from going ahead, suggesting a much smaller, static protest. A compromise was eventually reached with union chiefs on Wednesday morning.
The government took its desire to shut down the social movement to a new level by forbidding the Paris protest on the 23rd of June. After closed discussions with the Interior Minister, the unions have obtained the right to protest in Paris on the 23rd of June on a route proposed by the Interior Minister.
The labour reform protests come at a time while France is still under a state of emergency put in place following the terror attacks in November. Meanwhile, the country is also hosting the Euro football tournament, which has seen its own share of unrest. Authorities have voiced concerns that violence would break out as it had in previous marches, citing the 14th of June in particular.
Les manifestations antérieures.
Previous protests, specifically the one that took place on the 14th of June, saw an unacceptable level of violence. This protest led to buildings being damaged, as well as businesses, and 28 police were injured. A protest of the same nature cannot be allowed to happen.
N'était donc pas envisageable.
A decision to forbid the protest outright would have been historical. The last time a union protest was banned in France was in 1962, at the end of the Algerian War.
And indeed, that last time that one was banned, again, it was in a time of a state of emergency. So you see the parallels developing there. But let's get our guests' opinions on what happens. Bruno, I'll start with you. In terms of what is happening tomorrow, we've seen almost a spectacular U-turn by the government, haven't we?
Yes, it's more than a U-turn. It's a really messy day that they've got on today. I was just looking before coming, I was looking to some tweet by Jean-Luc Mélenchon, and Jean-Luc Mélenchon said an extremely funny thing. He said, finally, the forbidden demonstration has been authorized to turn around on itself and in a static way. So it's a super paradoxical situation, and we've got really a difficult day on today for the executive. We have seen valse hesitation, if I may so joke with that. Okay, but we have seen really something extremely strange on today, which is U-turns. You don't know where we are, and the demonstration will be authorized on tomorrow, but no one knows exactly how much people will be there. The trajectory of the demonstration, it looks a little bit bizarre. If there is a huge attendance to the demonstration, indeed it will be static because the trajectory is a bit short. So it's a very, very bizarre situation that we have on today, which is just indicating that the government is a little bit in a trap on today.
Indeed, people who'll be watching this from abroad are wondering, are they going to see the same kind of scenes in the street? Will there be the same kind of violent reaction? And Axel, I'll come to you because you're crossing your fingers hoping, I suppose, that there won't be.
I hope not, because it's not good for the cause, it's not good for the movement, it's not good for, the people in the street. I want to believe it's only 200, 300 people that are causing all this trouble. So, yeah, but it's funny because now it really looks like where we are, vicious circle and stubbornness, and we are in this situation. Whatever happens, it's if the laws stay or not, the situation is so bad. The division is so big. The violence, even in the ward, even in the division, is so big. What can we do? We have an election in 1 year. You have people waiting, like the right of the right, waiting patiently to see all this chaos doing the work for them. I'm super scared about that.
Let me play devil's advocate. You say, what can you do? What you could do is say, let's not have a demonstration.
No, yes, you can say that, but in the atmosphere, it's stupid. Honestly, the government is not stupid, but it's crazy. You already know you don't have the public opinion. You are trying to play the public opinion since, and honestly, I'm not totally against the law, but I see that in terms of communication, it's a disaster. Then you really try to play the public opinion, and so you go a bit more on the rigid, more authority. Can we say that part?
You just said it. Go ahead.
And but it's it's a government from the left. It's I don't know. It's the interdiction. It's crazy for me that they go so far.
Simon for the socialists, come on.
Yeah, I agree. I think the message that was sent from a socialist government is a very bad message. The right to protest is a constitutional right, so it's protected by the Constitution.
Even in a state of emergency,
Even
Simon.
in a state of emergency. And I think what we've seen in the past weeks, that there have been hooligans and protesters that they are not protesters. The majority of the protesters, they are peaceful protesters. And these demonstrations, they're organized by unions that are democratic unions organizing democratic protestations. So we've seen in Marseille last week.
CGT spoke to me. They disowned these people. They say they're not part of our.
Sure.
The CGT, just so people know, is the major union organizing the demonstrations.
They're not protesters. There's hooligans, and as they are hooligan in football, we've seen it last week in Marseille.
It's true.
And it's just the same phenomenon. So
the responsibility is on nobody.
I think the responsibility is on the state and on the government to protect the right to demonstrate. It's a constitutional right. So law and order must be maintained.
Protecting the right, even in a state of emergency.
Yes.
The violence that you witnessed, Pierre, on the street. Clearly you're there with your camera, doing an essential job, because if there's no freedom of speech, no freedom of the press, then there's no democracy. And you're in the front line of democracy. And that sounds dramatic, but it's true. It's what you're doing. It's what I pretend I do, but I'm removed from it. You're there, right on the spot, with people threatening you.
Hero.
And maybe we can hopefully see some of your photographs as you're talking to us. But tell us what your experience was living this expression of free speech, free will, demonstration.
At the beginning of the movement, it was not so violent. Demonstrations were not so violent. And 1 month after, it beginning to be hard for us, journalists, to work with the beginning of the illegal demonstrations after Nuit debout. Because it was the night, so we were not a lot. Because if you go to demonstration tomorrow, you will see a lot of journalists. So we are together, protect each other. But during the night, it was very complicated. And there are tensions, more and more tensions. So policemen doesn't like us. This is the same for demonstrators. It's very complicated.
I'm sorry, you're saying the police didn't like you being there?
Everybody. It's very complicated where you are on the ground to be understood.
But did the police know that you were a journalist?
Of course.
Photographer. So you're saying that's actually an attack on the free press?
Yeah.
Which is a disgrace, isn't it? Everybody, it is a disgrace, isn't it? Everyone agrees it's a disgrace. Please carry on.
Yeah, I think that there is more and more tensions, and this is why for policemen it's complicated, but this is the same for demonstrators, We try to be just witnesses, but the conflict is so... there is a very hard separation, so people want that medias take a position,
This is one of your photos, Pierre.
Yeah.
Obviously, tell us about that.
It was in Place d'Italie. This is an arrestation, as we saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, more. I mean, these scenes. It's very evocative, isn't it? These photos. I mean, they're great. They're great shots. They're great shots. Go on, Axel.
Yeah, what I think it's interesting is we only talk about the protest, which is crazy because we don't talk about the content anymore. We don't talk about the law. We don't talk like the debate is totally hijacked because of this tension, because of the context, because of all of this. Honestly, I'm here, and when you invite me, I was like, I don't know if I'm legitimate because I don't know the 52 article. Do you? Do you? Because me, I only know the 1, 2, 3, the one we talk about all the time. But I feel we didn't have the debate, the real debate about the law.
Bruno?
I think that one of the explanation is probably that anything that you see on the screens or from your photos actually should be related to the next presidential election campaign. It is absolutely obvious that for someone like Manuel Valls that did all its political career on the question of security, Republican order, and authority, it's absolutely crucial to be, let's say, to be fitted with that. The other thing, which is that also François Hollande himself, just think about the next election campaign, he absolutely need the text to be voted because François Hollande has a key objective. He wants to say to the French voters, look, I'm a true reformist. If I have to go up to that, I can go up to that. For François Hollande, that has the image of the guy who hesitates, that there is no line. It's absolutely politically crucial to get the text voted very soon, because then he could go up to develop that argument, which is, I am a reformist, I am quite able, I'm the executive, I'm the chief of the executive, and if I need to oppose my own camp, I will do it.
It would need a minor miracle, wouldn't it, to transform François Hollande's incredibly low, low ratings at this point into a viable candidacy for president
Absolutely,
again.
yes.
So you win in election with this, with people hating each other, fighting each other, with a binary environment we are now?
But in an election, obviously, you cannot unify your camp with that. But in election, it is to elect the French president, which is the executive position. You need also to show that you have the capacity to handle in an executive way. Unfortunately, it turns to that. But I really think that François Hollande tried to do something of that, which is I am a reformist, and trust me, I can continue like that if you elect me a second time.
Today's decision, though, today's U-turn, as you described it very dramatically, in terms of communication strategy, I'll turn to you, Axel. That is a disaster. You'll get your say in a moment, Simon.
This is a disaster since the beginning. I have to say, honestly, I'm not a communication expert. I'm just I just like to talk about what I like and I believe in. But in terms of communication, if you really make me want to believe in this law, there is so many other ways to do that. It's like we are in 2016. You can explain the law. You can create a participation. You have the tool. You have a digital revolution. There is so many ways instead of, hey, hello.
This is what the sort of Nuit debout thing was about, isn't it? Kind of like trying to pull it apart and
Nuit debout is about many things, I feel. Nuit debout is about many things. It's about saying no, saying not in my name, saying I believe in another society. I don't know. You know, I went only 2 times, twice, and I feel it was something very different. It depends. Every individual came for something. So I don't believe you can create a vision or a movement based on that. But it's a general atmosphere, I will say.
A symbol of a groundswell of people being really generally unhappy with how society is.
Young people, I mean, you know, unemployment, all of this, it's about us. It's about, and young people don't vote anymore.
Let me steer you back to bring Simon in now about the decision that was taken today somewhere in the echelons of the Élysée to make this decision.
To me, the problem is it's not even communication, is that a socialist government has considered and has announced that a demonstration could be banned and not authorized. To me, that's the problem. And that's what we've seen the whole day, that in the morning the demonstration was not authorized and it was authorized in the afternoon. And that there has been a huge... many people speaking on the medias and saying it's not possible to ban and to let people have their right to protest. And so to me that's the problem. And it shows that the French society and the French civil society is really bounded to French values, liberty, equality, fraternity. And to me it's more than a problem of communication.
Okay.
To me it's something different.
Let me just bring Bruno back in. Valls versus Hollande, was this the kind of like the face-off on this one?
It could be. It could be. Some people are saying that can Manuel Valls stay? Okay, and probably during the day, Manuel Valls got the question: should I stay or should I go? Obviously, so probably that was the thing of Manuel Valls.
He's quoting the Flash. I love it.
Of Manuel Valls on today. But yes, there is something which is there that the authority of Manuel Valls has been challenged. Obviously, on today, we just don't know on today exactly what happened. Is it François Hollande or is it from Bernard Cazeneuve, the Ministry of Interior? But probably the authority of Manuel Valls have been a little bit damaged on today. Manuel Valls did his best to communicate that, okay, I'm on that side, I'm very happy with that solution, but probably it indicates that you have some tensions, and it's a classical problem in the Fifth Republic, which is some executive tension between the Prime Minister and the President, but probably on today there were, yes, probably some tensions between the two.
It makes for dramatic copy for journalists, which is something we should all be glad of, I suppose, in my profession. I'll pause you for the moment. We're going to take a very short break. After that, we're back, of course, with the news and the second part of our debate.